I have long maintained, most strenuously, that what is true cannot be offensive. That is to say, that if something is objectively, factually correct, then it cannot hurt one to hear it. If one is hurt by something true, then it means that one is not pleased with the truth. But to not be pleased with the truth represents insanity. After all, it does not mean that we must be happy, but rather accepting of the truth. We must be pleased with the fact that it is true. We must recognize the truth. We must be at peace with the truth. To do else is madness. The only exception that comes to mind of this rule would be a situation in which the truth is spoken, but not the entire truth. For example, consider that a man is said to be a murderer. This may be true. He may be a murderer, but vital information is being left out. Perhaps this man was suffering from the depths of insanity. He may be a murderer, but there are extenuating circumstances. In this situation, anger, a sense of injustice, would be completely justified for this man to feel. After all, it may be true, but he is displeased because the truth is not being fully elucidated. The truth is being segmented. It is being compartmentalized. The full truth is not spoken. Of course, it is not always possible for us to speak the full truth. There simply isn't enough time. Often, people do not know the full truth. That is why it is imperative to keep this in mind, to not speak as though we understand the full truth, to be honest, to say what we know, but do not falsify that which we do not know. Make no claims to omniscience. Make no claims to absolute certainty. Rather, speak what we know to be true. Express that we do not know the absolute truth. Be willing to hear the truth from others. Incorporate all of these truths together into a more comprehensive whole. This will help eliminate anger at the hearing of the truth. The more we understand, the more we can be at peace with the truth. The more we can be at peace and be pleased by reality. And that is the truest path to happiness. To be pleased by the truth, by reality. To not hide from it. To not lie to ourselves. And, just as important, not to lie to others. Because when we lie to others, it spawns further lies. Those who are lied to are compelled to lie to themselves. They feel the need to correct the outer lie with an inner lie. For example, consider a person who is disparaged for some immutable characteristic of their being, simply because they are the way they are, and no other reason. Now, this is a lie, of course, or at least not the complete truth. This person, being a victim of the incomplete truth, is therefore compelled to manufacture falsehoods within his or her own mind in order to assuage this feeling of guilt at being something that they are not, guilt, a feeling that the world is crushing them beneath its heel for something that they simply are. This is an unreasonable state, and it is only natural that the human mind construct falsehoods in an attempt to shore up these gaps. However, this is destructive to the human condition in the long term. The human continuum will absorb these lies. These lies will perpetuate themselves. They will grow like a virus. They will feed on the fears and doubts of others. And in the end, they will multiply out of control. They will cause the same reaction in others when they are inflicted upon them. The suffering, it will become the person. The person will merge with the suffering. They will identify with the suffering more and more until they spread it outwards as a form of defense. They will seek survival by any means necessary. This psychological defense is dangerous. Without it being under strict control, humanity will suffer. There is no other outcome. What solution is there but to cut it off at the source? Each of us must take up intellectual arms. We must shield ourselves from the partial truths inflicted upon us by others. And in so doing, we must learn not to inflict them upon others. We must be reasonable. We must express the truth. We must not claim to absolute knowledge. That is perhaps the most critical thing going forward. We must treat each other with a respect that few understand and even fewer are willing to demonstrate. Because to do so means vulnerability. It means making ourselves vulnerable. It means refusing the easy answers, the defenses that we instinctively react with when attacked by false ideas and half-truths. By neutralizing this condition at the source, we can prevent it from metastasizing, prevent it from growing out of control as it has these many long years since the beginning of our species. By doing so, we can forge a better future. We can neutralize the spread of half-truths. We can come to a further understanding, a broader truth, a deeper truth. And by sharing this truth exclusively with one another, we can be increasingly free of the chains that have held us for so long, that have forced us at each other's throats, born out of nothing more than a desire to be understood more fully, to not be the victim of half-truths and partial understandings. So, I implore you, all those who seek to do this, embody in yourself and advocate in others a greater sense of truth, a willingness to accept that we do not know all things. Each of us is only capable of possessing a limited understanding of the vastness of the universe and one another. In time, we can gain more understanding. We can broaden our horizons. We can, potentially, become unlimited in our understanding through cooperative action. By merging our limited individual understandings, we can become greater than the sum of our parts. But this requires humility. It requires patience. It requires, above all else, empathy and a willingness to forego reprisals against those who have wronged us by spreading half-truths and incomplete realities.